My man Czar make tracks like this.
What's going on, y'all? I know a lot of people have been asking for this, so here's my review of the Allen Smart C1LA. This is the 500 series version of the C1. They did a 500 series version to celebrate the 25 years of the C1 compressor. So this is the bus compressor I've been using for the past couple years. I originally wanted an SSL bus compressor, which is my favorite bus compressor that I've used. However, this was, let me say, maybe $750 cheaper than an SSL and actually more versatile. Because Allen Smart worked for SSL, I expected this to sound like an SSL compressor, and it doesn't. Not a bad thing though. I really love this compressor, and one thing about me using hardware, I like to use hardware that can do what plugins can't. And with the versatility of this compressor, it definitely does what my other plugins can't do. Let's quickly go over an overview. Um, Starting at the top here, this meter R is going to meter the right channel. And you also see here under the VU meter, there's a labeling that says all switches out equals C1. So with everything out, you're going to resemble the compressor of the C1, and I'll get more into that because there's 3 different modes that you can put this compressor in. So there's only one. I'd really say the only thing I really don't like about it is that there's one VU meter. Even though it's a stereo compressor, I can't see both channels. So with the way it's set now, with this button out, I'm going to be metering the left channel, and if I press that in, now I'm metering the right channel. So you can't see both at the same time. You can see input and output. You can hit that to switch it to VU. Then you're looking at input. Press it, you're looking at output. And the biggest features here is the 3 modes that you can use. So with everything out, it's going to compress the left and the right channel individually. So, to quickly show an example of that, I'm going to play a test tone, and I've got the test tone panned all the way to the right, and so you'll switch in the gain reduction. Let's turn it in. Let's give a little threshold here. Okay, so with the tone generator on, and I got it panned all the way to the right, you'll see no compression going because we're looking at the left channel. Because I have it panned to the right, if we monitor the right channel now, you'll see some compression there. So with it stereo button out, you're compressing the left and right channel individually. Stereo button in, you're compressing both channels together. It's going to hold your stereo image better that way. And my favorite mode here, which is something my plugins don't do, is DC sum button. What this does is it switches it back to an independently compressed, but it's all summed together at the end for stereo. So quickly recap: independent, stereo, and the DC sum is more like a independent and stereo at the same time. I find that it makes my mixes a little wider when I put it in there, and also get a little less compression, and you'll see that when I get through with the with showing some examples. Standard controls: threshold, ratio, attack, release, makeup, gain. Um, Down here at the very bottom, we've got a 65 hertz side chain, 120, no, 130 hertz side chain, and when you do them together, it's a 205, I believe. Yeah, 205. So these 4 here, this button cuts the threshold in half. We have a soft knee times 1.5. So this takes all of the attack and release settings and it multiplies it by 1.5. This is giving you an even greater number of attack and release times. And auto long, when the release is set to auto long, has a different characteristic that it'll affect for the auto release there, and I'll show that soon. Okay, so this is a mix for uh, Marco Dane that I did. It's a song titled "So Clear." It's been released now on, I believe it's that Piff is the site that it's on. I'll find a link and I'll put it in the description. But as all of my mixes over the past few years, it's gone through this bus compressor. So we're going to go through some examples. I'm going to put it in stereo here. I'm going to check settings real quick. Okay, I'm going to start with a 300 millisecond release, 10 millisecond attack, and you have the threshold here in the middle. Just give it a little more gain reduction than I would normally get on my mix bus. And I'm going to first show, we're going to set it so we're getting just about 2 to 4 dB compression, and I'm going to bring it in and out, and you can hear just how the C1LA really glues and brings everything together in this mix. I'm going to also kick in the side chain because this mix has a lot of low end that's going to pull down the compression on it, and you'll hear how when I bring in the side chain, you'll clear that up. All right, here we go.
We chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. By some means and necessary, we hunt them down. February, no love letters, just straight candy. I'm on Speedbird, Reynolds, Bandit 2JL. W6, I stay jamming. We call it smokers, duck nobody. Them guys suckers, I'm praying for me. Better lay low. It's hot out.
Hot out.
Don't get spot out.
Spot out.
Light or dark out.
You better watch out, trying to keep us locked out. You better know we all in. No LeBron, Kobe, Michael, but we ballin'. The money calling, we answer. I never reject. We need it over here.
As you can hear with the compressor out, you're gonna feel the mix swell up, and that's because we're just compressing it just a few dB. I'm gonna play it again, and I'm gonna bring in. We'll do the 65 hertz, and then we'll switch and do the 130 hertz, so you can hear, because you can see this mix has a lot of low end on it. So this is a great example for how the internal side chain here. And before I forget to mention, it also has an external side chain that you can jack into if you choose to use that. But with these three options, the 65 hertz, the 130, and the 205, I've never had to use an external side chain with this compressor. But here we go. Let's use the internal side chain.
We chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. By some means and necessary, we hunt them down. February, no love letters, just straight candy. I'm on Speedbird, Reynolds, Bandit 2JL. W6, I stay jamming. We call it smokers, duck nobody. Them guys suckers, I'm praying for me. Better lay low. It's hot out.
Hot out.
Don't get spot out.
Spot out.
Light or dark out.
You better watch out, trying to keep us locked out. You better know we all in. No LeBron, Kobe, Michael, but we ballin'. The money calling, we answer. I never reject. We need it over here.
In the game, we have no fear. No fear. 15 minutes, you can meet me at serious. I'm here. I'm here. You some of this here. Right here. Right here. Straight slam for your ears. Yeah.
So with that 130 hertz, I'm getting less compression because less of the low end is pulling that down. I'm going to go over the long. So with using SSL compressor, I used to use the automatic release on there, and since getting this compressor, I like either the 300 or 600, just of course depending on the mix. But I want to show you how the characteristic of the auto release is here. So I'm gonna let's do the 65 hertz for the side chain, and I'm gonna play this, bring down the threshold a little bit, and just pay attention as I stop it. Pay attention to how the release reacts. Actually, let's bring the threshold down a little bit more so we can dig in on the compression some. So I'm going to play a few bars, stop it, and just watch how the automatic release reacts on the C1LA.
We chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. By some means and necessary, we hunt them down.
You can see it's a really long automatic release, and it's kind of cool here with the auto long. You'll notice that when I stop it, it's like a fast release and then a slow release. So check that out.
We chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. By some means and necessary, we
I'm gonna show that one more time.
Chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. Yeah, we getting money.
by some means.
So you can see it releases, like half of it releases quick and then it starts to slow down. Like I said, I generally prefer the 300 or 600 hertz. So not hertz, seconds. So
We chasing the paper all year.
see, it goes back to zero a lot more quicker. So I don't tend to use the auto release on here, and it's my settings pretty much stay between either 10 milliseconds and 30 on the attack, a 2-to-1 ratio. I've used this in mastering as well, where I will have it in a chain with my with the Elysia, the C1LA, the JDKR24. I like to run through that and get the transformer sound from that and record it back in with my antelope here too. But what the C1 allows me to do, for example, a track I was mastering this week had a very strong snare hit on the right channel that wasn't in the left channel. I was able to put it into the DC sum mode and independently compress both of those channels, but then still keep the stereo image stable, which was really useful for that, because I don't know what I would have done in the plug-in in the box to do that. I cannot remember if I went over the difference of the stereo and the DC sum. So just in case I didn't, let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna bring the threshold up some. Got here. We'll keep it at the 30 millisecond attack. All right, so this I'm going to show the difference between the DC sum and the stereo here.
We chasing the paper all year. Chasing the paper all year. Yeah, we getting money.
By some means and necessary, we hunt them down. February, no love letters, just straight candy. I'm on Speedbird, Reynolds, Bandit 2JL. W6, I stay jamming, we call it smokers. Duck nobody, them guys suckers. I'm praying for me, better lay low. It's hot out.
Hot out.
Don't get spot out.
Spot out.
Light or dark out.
You better watch out, tryna keep us locked out. You better know we all in. No LeBron, Kobe, Michael, but we ballin'. The money calling, we answer. I never.
So we're definitely getting more compression in the stereo modes because it's working together both channels at the same time, where the sum is doing it independently. However, it's such a versatile and great feature to have on this compressor, that just being able to independently compress that left and right channel. I just can't think of a plugin I have that does that, which really makes this invaluable for me. So there you go. That's my review of the Smart C1LA. Again, a great 500 series stereo compressor. Like I said, compare it to the SSL. I don't think it sounds like an SSL. The SSL, the mids, it kind of pushes the mids forwards to me. I don't get that with this compressor. However, I will trade that for the extra features that I have on this compressor. Any questions, hit me up in the comments, let me know, and I'll catch y'all next time.